Well, I think one of the great dangers that we face is that there is an older generation, the baby boomers and so on, who are coming out into retirement, starting enjoying in pensions and so on. At the same time, there's a younger generation coming through. And if I were really young at the moment, I'd look at issues like climate change and say, to the boomers, how dare you leave us with this? How do you take the pensions and leave us with, superstorms and all the rest of it? One of the things that really excites me with the Covestro exhibition this year is the student projects. And I think that openness to the young people who will, in ways, not only inherit the future but shape it is immensely exciting. And I'm looking forward to spending a bit more time on those later on this afternoon. Well, it's interesting. If I think back to the 1960s when I was still in education, the graduate came out, plastics was the future. And now, in one way or another, although it's still the future, it's coming under pressure. So, ocean plastic debris and these sorts of issues are becoming more problematic. But I see a very fundamental role for polymers in a sustainable economy. And it's partly lightweighting, but it's many other things. And the question is, how do we bring plastics back into an increasingly circular economy? I think it's doable, but it's a very big challenge. I think consumers are important, but we did a book called The Green Consumer Guide in the late 1980s, sold 1 million copies and helped catalyze a global consumer movement on green and environmental issues. But these people are shock troops. They mobilize for short periods of time and then that interest falls away. So in a way what we've got to do is make sure that every product, like the microphone or whatever it is done in the right way so consumers don't have to think about that sort of stuff. But we're a long way from that point. I look around and a lot of our work has been over the years with CEOs and business leaders. And when I started 40 years ago, it was really hard to find visionary and practically informed business leaders. Now there's a growing number, and so every sector has them. And you can look at the sort of the shining saints like Paul Pullman of Unilever. You can look at people like Elon Musk in Tesla and people like that. And I say people like that. Increasingly, there are a growing number of these people. But I think about the plastics industry. I think about people like Feike Sijbesma of DSM. But I particularly think of Patrick Thomas of Covestro because he's somebody who deeply understands this agenda in all sorts of different ways, is keen to explain it to the wider world, and somehow has this capacity to engage ordinary people where they are. And that's rare still in CEOs and business leaders. So if I had to pick one person, I'd be inclined to go for Patrick somehow.